Hey guys, we are back with some more New Jersey Devils franchise mode, and in this one we are going to go into free agency and sign one key guy, which I brought up in the last one, and that would be Robin Lehner. Now the issue that we were facing in the last episode was the length of Robin Lehner's contract, because he wants a 5-year contract. I wanted a 2-year contract initially, but the thing is, for Robin Lehner, he's clearly been through a lot of teams: Chicago, the Islanders, Buffalo, Ottawa, and he's clearly just tired of moving around, which would explain why he wants that 5-year deal. So I don't want 5 years. I'll give him 4 years though, because the length is clearly important to him, and we will give him 5.5 as a result of taking the year off of his contract. So 5.5 for 4 years for Robin Lehner. We will submit that offer to him. Now, the next move that we're going to be making is actually a trade. And it's going to be for a fourth liner, because if we take a look at all the forwards available in free agency, there's no one who I really was impressed by as far as bottom 6 forwards go. If we take a look at someone like Maroon, he doesn't really fit into our Pro Scout assessment according to what this says here. The 3-bar scouting, it says he does not fit into our scheme at all, which I'm not a fan of. And if we take a look at other guys, Bonker, none. Vanek fits in on forward line 1, which would not be Vanek's purpose. So we're just going to skip out on all of these guys here. Carlos Soderberg, he's more of honestly a third or a second liner, and he fits in apparently on the fourth line, power play, and a penalty kill. That's not where Soderberg would be on our team. He would be at the very least third line center, maybe even second line wing, depending on what our team structure is at the time. So we're not going to be making any more free agent signings. That is the only one. We're not going to be going after Sami Vatanen, because there is our rookie defenseman in Ty Smith. He's currently a 77 overall, and that's from the jump from just natural growth throughout the season. He'll get another jump once we cross over into next season. So I'm hoping that he'll be at least a 79 overall by the time we start next season, and that he'll be able to play as an official top 6 defenseman. Now, the other guy to watch is Kirill Zhamnov. We don't know what his exact role is yet, but he is a 78 overall, and he was playing in a men's league. Last year, had 4 goals, 7 assists in 54 games played, 17.05 of ice time, so he's clearly a very skilled defenseman. We might see him in the NHL this year. So that's why we're letting go of Vatanen. And he wanted 6 years for, I believe, $5 million. That wasn't going to work with the moves that we're making here. And as far as Blackwood goes, that's why we are going after Robin Lehner, because we're not exactly sure of the future of Mackenzie Blackwood. He had an .892 save percentage in 36 games last year, and though he still has the potential, he still may not work out just based off how he's simulated so far. So that is why we're going long-term with Robin Lehner. And now we will get into the next move that we're going to make. And I already have a player in mind, so we're going to go find trade so that we can maybe get a reasonable offer for him from the other team, and that would be Chicago. And Chicago is currently in a rebuilding state as we back out and see proposed trade. Well, actually, we could have probably offered the trade and then got into the screen from there. As you see with their status, they have rebuilder on them. So they are interested in getting rid of Zach Smith, Andrew Shaw, Ryan Carpenter, and we are going to be getting Zach Smith from them. And here's why. He fits the bill of what I am looking for perfectly in a fourth liner, basically. He's a center, so he's flexible to play center if he needs to. I don't think he will need to, because obviously we have Zajac, who he does not struggle at all with faceoffs, but he's gritty. He is solid defensively. He can put up a few points when you need him to, and you could put him on the penalty kill potentially. 167 hits, and his takeaway to giveaway ratio is pretty solid too, 62 to 53 last year. And that's in 16.05 of ice time. So he obviously won't have that kind of role with us like he did with Chicago, but he'll still be a pretty important part of the fourth line. So that's why we are going to be getting him on the trade block, or on the trade screen. And we're not going to be retaining any salary, because Chicago, clearly, they are in a position where they may not want to give up any salary, because they're actually closer to the ceiling than we are. So what we are going to be giving up to the Blackhawks is our third for next year and our seventh for next year. I actually did this in preparation for the recording to see what would work. And I went into the find trade function, only asked for what they would want for Zach Smith, and this is what they came up with: a third and a seventh for Zach Smith, proposed trade. That'll go through. So now we have our fourth line all filled out, and that means we don't have to worry about someone like, say, Joey Anderson having to not develop, which at this point, he's not really going to be in the NHL squad. He'll probably be the 13th forward. And as for someone like John Hayden might actually end up in the AHL. Now, Blake Coleman is a very interesting situation, because at the start of last season, he was an 82 overall. And right now, he is a 77. The game still has him listed as a third line scoring forward. So I don't know whether it was just a lack of ice time that got him down all the way to a 77. Oh, you know what? It might actually be morale. Yeah, it's morale. It's definitely morale. Yeah, because the loss of ice time, recent individual performances, failing to make the playoffs. Yeah, so here's my plan for Coleman. If we can somehow get him going on the fourth line, give him maybe some penalty kill time, maybe some 4-on-4, something like that. Maybe some additional power play time if it works out that way. But I really want to get Blake Coleman going on that fourth line so that we can possibly get him back up to an 82 where he was before. If we can't get back up to an 82, then oh well. But I definitely want to try to get Coleman's morale back up there and have him perform that we know he can, as seen in last year in the regular season in the real NHL. He had 22 goals. So hopefully he can replicate that performance as opposed to last season's performance where he only had 6 goals, 18 assists. Now, that's not too bad for someone who was on the fourth line, only getting 10 minutes of ice time. But here's the thing about Coleman. He's very good defensively. He blocks shots. He has a good takeaway to giveaway ratio. He has a good amount of hits. So if we just give him a little bit more ice time, he'll be that much more, just annoying to the other team. And that's why I'm not going to give up on Coleman just yet. I want to see if we could get him back up to an 82 overall. All right, so that is what we will be doing. Those are the only moves we're making for the entire offseason. Now we just have to hope that Robin Lehner signs, and we will be all good to go to move into next season. Well, actually, hold on. Let me just make sure that we have all our scouts and coaching staff sorted out. I believe, I remember now. We offered our NHL assistant and goalie coaches in the last one, but do we have the scouts? We have a few season here, so I would like to see if we can get a good scout. There's AHL B scouts. What's the best scout available? Yeah, AHL B scouts. There's not really too many scouts in the first couple of years that are available. That would be too much of an upgrade from what we already have. But starting like year number 3, year number 4, that's when the really good scouts start becoming available. So I don't think we need any... Yeah, we don't need any upgrades right now. We could just keep the same team that we have as far as scouts go. And then as far as coaches go, hopefully we get the 2 guys of our choice. If not, then we are definitely going to have to interview a couple of other guys until we get those positions filled. So let's see what happens when we simulate ahead up to the 6th. Hopefully we get Robin Lehner and our coaches of choice. So Simmons and a 4th for a 2nd and a 3rd. No thanks. So we did get Joanne Delorier, the goalie coach. My sources tell me your staff chemistry is excellent. So I'm hopeful that I can join the staff with little drama. I gladly accept. Well, your sources are correct. Serge Biron also joins us. I'm happy to join the team and want to thank you for reaching out to me with an offer. I look forward to making an impact. Well, I look forward to that as well. And Robin Lehner has accepted our offer. So there you go. There's our off season. That's about it. Not too eventful, but I believe that we have filled out the majority of our needs, and we can now go ahead to September 13th. Trade alert. We have to Anaheim, Ryan Dzingel, and a 3rd round pick in 2022. And to Carolina, we have 2 2nd round picks, 1 for this year and 1 for next year. So we are here at the start of the preseason for year number 2. And oh, look at that team status. look at that team status. Champion. That's what I told you. We just needed a goaltender. We just needed a goaltender in Robin Lehner. So let's see what our roster looks like now. We'll start out with goaltenders. So, oh boy, okay. Mackenzie Blackwood did grow to an 85 overall. This will be interesting. This will be very interesting this year between Mackenzie Blackwood and Robin Lehner. But it did make sense to sign Robin Lehner because of the down season that Mackenzie Blackwood had. And obviously we traded Corey. So it makes sense to bring in a goaltender who, he was a backup for Chicago last year. Posted a good save percentage. It improves our goaltender situation. And that was the main thing that we needed. So as far as defensemen go, Subban 89, Severson 84, Butcher 84, Tanev 83, Mueller 79, Smith is a 78. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I want him to obviously make the NHL as soon as possible. And he fits our scheme perfectly. So he would be great to bring in as soon as we can. If we can manage to find a +3 line chemistry with him and maybe with Mirko Mueller, then he would definitely be worth keeping around. Because at that point, he'll simulate more like I would say like an 81 instead of a 78. So having him and Mueller potentially with that +3, that'd be a recipe for success. Butcher and Tanev, or Severson and Tanev, whatever, and then Butcher with Subban. There's a lot of possible combinations as far as defense goes. And then in the system, we have Tennyson. If we need to bring him up, we can, because he adds that +3 as well. As far as his scheme fit, now he doesn't fit the scheme as well in the AHL as he does at our NHL team, which he fits the scheme perfectly for our NHL team, which is why we held on to him. Josh Jacobs, Dakota Murmas, White, Bernard, Grolot, and Sissons. So the AHL does need a little bit of work since the team struggled big time last year. And as we check forwards, Hall 91, Nico is an 88 now. Okay, Jack Hughes the 86. So there's your top two centers. They're starting to get up there in overall, starting to earn their merit as elite players. Nikita Gusev, 86 overall. So we stayed at the 86 overall that he had at the end of last season. Kyle Palmieri, 84. Jesper Bratt's an 84 now as well. Miles Woods an 82. Simmons an 81. Zaka 81. Zajac 79. Zach Smith is 79. Anderson 78. And Coleman and Hayden are 77 overall. So we'll send down, I think, John Hayden. And I'll call up Matt Tennyson, actually, so that we can have that 7th defenseman ready if needed, if there's any injuries. As far as goaltenders in the AHL go, we have Cormier and Sen. We're not calling either of those guys up. Now, Sini is a 77. Boquist is a 75. Okay, so that's good. He's growing a little bit. Now, I know he had some morale issues due to the team performance, so that's why we're going to try to get the AHL team to do better this year. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to fit in too well he doesn't fit in too well on the first line. He'd be best on the second line for sure. So New Jerseys, there's Smith, who is 15, and there is Lehner, who is number 41. Matt Tennyson, I'll change that to number 7, like he is in real life. And then the alternates are Zajac and Palmieri. The captain is Taylor Hall. I believe those are the only differences from last season. Okay, so here are our lines to start. Your number 2. First line, we have Hall, Hughes, and Gusev. Hughes fits the first line better than he does the second line as we take a look at his scheme fit. Much better, actually, than he fits the second line. And the second line, I might be going a bit crazy here, but I'm going to try Blake Coleman alongside of Nico Hischier and Kyle Palmieri. First of all, he adds that +1 to the second line that someone like Simmons, well, actually Simmons does, but the key to moving Simmons down to the fourth line was that Coleman does not add that +1 to the fourth line, and Simmons does. So we're going to try Coleman on the second line, as opposed to someone like Bratt as well. If we move Bratt away from that third line, that takes away the +3 that the third line has. I don't want to mess with the third line at all. As we see, if we move Zach up to the second line, it bumps that down to a +1. If we move Wood down, it also stays at a +1. So I really want that +3 there with that third line. Bratt, Zaka, and Wood. That is going to be the third line, hopefully for the whole year. And as far as Coleman on the second line goes, I'm just hoping that he'll be able to be a solid second liner that he'll be able to get that 77 back up to an 82. He's gaining morale as of recently for signing Robin Lehner, for re-signing Wayne Simmons, for being taken off the trade block. So if we put him in a good position to succeed, I have a feeling he will get that 77 back up to an 82, and maybe he'll put up some solid numbers this year, especially being alongside of Nico and Palmieri. Now, if this doesn't work out within the first month or two, let's say, then we'll obviously make some changes. But for right now, I want to see how this works, and if Blake Coleman is capable of getting back up to an 82 overall. Defensively, we have Butcher and Subban, Mueller and Severson, and then Ty Smith with Chris Tanev, as Ty Smith does add that +3 to any pairing that he's on. Well, besides the pairing with Subban, but if he's with Butcher, he adds a +3. If he's with Mueller, he adds a +3. If he's with Tanev, he has a +3. And if he's with Severson, he adds a +3. So really, you could put him anywhere besides with Subban, and he'd add that +3 line chemistry. So that's why I have Tanev next to him. Tanev's going to help him out defensively. He's that veteran presence there. And hopefully Smith will be able to produce like we know he can as an offensive defenseman. Or offensively minded defenseman, I should say. He is technically a two-way defender in this, and we'll see how he does over the course of the year. Now, the power play. Hall, Hischier, and Simmons with Palmieri and Subban. So that leaves Bratt, Hughes, and Gusev with Severson and Butcher. The reason I moved down Gusev was because he's more of a sniper. I want him playing with Hughes, who's that natural playmaker, and then Bratt is also a playmaker, and then Severson and Butcher. Well, actually, it might be more effective to have someone like Palmieri there, because Severson, if I remember correctly, didn't have too many shots last season. He only had 112. So he's more of a playmaking offensive defenseman, whereas someone like Kyle Palmieri takes a lot of shots. So I want at least two guys with a lot of shots on that power play unit, and that means Gusev, Palmieri, and I believe Butcher shoots the puck quite a bit. 138, not as much as I thought he did. But Palmieri and Gusev, nonetheless, will be the snipers on that line. Bratt, Hughes, and Butcher will be the playmakers. And for this line, Taylor Hall can be a sniper. Subban, I believe, shoots the puck a lot as well. Yeah, he had over 200 shots last season, so Hall and Subban will be shooting the puck. And then Severson and Nico will be passing it, and Simmons the net front presence. And the reason I have Simmons on the power play is because obviously he's on the fourth line. We need to get him some additional time. We don't want the same thing to happen to him as with what happened with Blake Coleman last season. And the four-man power play, Nico, Hall, Subban, and Bratt. And then you have Hughes, Gusev, Butcher, and Smith. And then the penalty kill, we have that +5 line chemistry for that second line penalty kill with Nico, Miles Wood, Tanev, and Butcher. And then Zach Smith, I should say, and Subban with Severson makes up that first line penalty kill. And then Zajac, Subban, and Severson, and Hischier, Tanev, and Butcher as the second line three-man penalty kill. As we get into extras, I really wish I didn't do this. I just start on to the 4-on-4. Nico and Hall with Subban and Severson, and then Hughes and Gusev with Butcher and Tanev, and then the 4-on-4 continued. I actually didn't edit these lines, but Smith and Bratt. No, I'm not going to have Smith on there. I'll get Zaka with Bratt, and then Mueller with Smith. And then 3-on-3, I didn't actually edit these either. Hischier, Hall, Subban, Hughes, Gusev, Severson, and then Smith, Bratt, and Butcher. I'll get Zaka on there once again. And then the extra attackers are Hischier and Hughes. And the shootout, Hall, Hughes, Gusev, Hischier, and Palmieri. And in goal, we have Lehner and Blackwood. They will be more than likely splitting games this season. Go 2-2 loss ratio, something like that. And then Tennyson and Anderson are scratched. And once again, we'll obviously make a change if Blake Coleman doesn't work out on the second line. But I just want to see if he's capable of bouncing back to get back up to that 82 overall. So I have set up the lines for the AHL now. And we did make a few signings. That would include the goaltender Merzlikins, the forward Seth Griffith, and the forward Alan Quinn, who is right here. And then the defenseman Brian Strait, who we are getting back for a second season, Jacob Gross, or Jordan Gross, and Kirill Zhamnov, who adds that +5 line chemistry to the top D pair. So hopefully they'll tear it up. And he's actually already a top 6 defenseman role, but we'll see how he simulates down here in the AHL before we think about calling him up, because he is 18 after all. I want to see how he simulates before we get him into any kind of trouble in the NHL. But the defense down here is looking much better than it did last year. The offense is looking much better as well with Hayden down here, Griffith, Quinn. You know, you got a much deeper AHL squad this year, and hopefully they could do some damage down there in the AHL. Now, another guy who I was considering signing is Anton Lundell, one of our first-round picks from this past draft. But I feel like he'll benefit more from playing another season in Liga than he will from playing on our AHL squad, just because he would probably end up being on the third or fourth line behind Boqvist and all the veterans who we just signed. So Lundell will be playing in Liga for right now. Vukojevic, he's getting close. He was a 73 last year. He's a 76 right now. I think one more year of development for Vukojevic, and he should be all good to go for hopefully the NHL, but if not, then he'll definitely be the first defensive pair in the AHL next year, because he is looking like a beast so far at 19 years of age, 76 overall, medium top 4 potential defenseman. So now what we will do is we'll get into a preseason game, and I had to simulate a little bit so that we could get the AHL guys signed, but we're going to have a home game here, so it's obviously not going to be the game against Carolina. We're going to get into a game, and it will be, let's say, the game against... Why not? We'll go against the Rangers here in the preseason, so we will simulate up to the third period, and then we'll go into the third period to watch our team hopefully win the game. And we're not going to be playing against the Rangers because I had to blow my nose way too much that game, and we have a trade alert. Zaitsev and a fourth to Buffalo for 2 seconds to Ottawa in 2021 and 2022. Wow. So, salary cap compliance. Yeah, I believe we are all compliant. So we will play against Philly instead. And we will simulate up to the third period. And we'll go into the third period. First period, we have 2 goals, Hughes and Palmieri on Hart. Second period, all right. 3-1 lead. Simmons with the goal. Patrick with the goal on Blackwood. Let's get to it. And here we go. Game against the Flyers. Well, third period against the Flyers, I should say. And face-off won by Giroux. Provorov for Voracek. Can't get in the zone. Looking for a way in. Ghost finds Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk with a shot on Blackwood. And he'll cover up quickly. Hall, Hughes, and Gusev out there against Van Riemsdyk. Giroux and Voracek. Face-off won by Hughes. For Subban, but picked up by Giroux. Giroux with the shot and Blackwood with the save. All Hughes and Gusev still out there against Van Riemsdyk, Giroux, and Voracek. Face off, tied up, but taken by Subban and gets it to Gusev. Gusev, up for the Devils. He winds it around the boards, finds Provorov. Provorov will get that to Giroux, who got it to Voracek, and Voracek in the zone for Giroux. Back first, he goes to spare. Oh my goodness, he had a grade A opportunity there, but Blackwood says no. Coleman, Hischier, and Palmieri in there against Vanek, Frost, and Patrick. Blackwood with 24 saves so far in the game. Subban gets it off the draw, and he'll try to find Palmieri, and does eventually. Palmieri into the zone. He drops it for Subban. For Butcher with the shot in front. Coleman will get to it. Provorov will pick it up. Frost to Vanek. Vanek, looking out his options, finds Ghost. Ghost will get in. Vanek for Patrick with the shot from the point. And Blackwood will cover up. Coleman, Hischier, and Palmieri still out there against Vanek, Frost, and Patrick. Face-off won by Hischier on the push. Severson for Palmieri. Palmieri in the zone. Does a little dangle. From Mueller. Mueller for Nico Hischier. And Patrick will take it away from Nico. The 1 and 2 in the 2017 draft as Patrick back for Sanheim, and Blackwood with the save on the pads. Severson takes it up for Coleman. Coleman in the zone. Finds Mueller on the point, who just rips a shot from point blank and could not get anything going as it went wide. Sanheim with the ripper shot, and that made the iron ring as Blackwood covers up. My goodness. Zeka and Wood out there against Lindblom. Couturier and Hayes. Face-off lost by Zacha. Shot taken by the Flyers as Couturier picks it up behind the net. Couturier for Hayes. For Lindblom with the shot, and that is saved by Blackwood. Couturier with the shot and picked up by Zacha. Tanev for Ty Smith. For Bratt. Bratt dumps in and winds it around the boards. Forechecking is Wood, but that is going to be a delayed penalty on Miles Wood for the slash, as he is going to go off here momentarily. Lindblom has it for Voracek, and that shot will go wide, but Blackwood touches up. Yep, Miles Wood to the box. Now that will be either a slash or a hook. I believe it actually will be a hook. Yep, that's hooking. All right, Smith and Zajac out there against Voracek, Giroux, and Couturier. Face off won by Zajac, cleared by Severson. Provorov back for Philly. Over to Ghost. And Giroux knocked down by number 15. I'm not too sure who that is. I believe that's Zach Smith. And Blackwood will cover that shot up by Jake Voracek. Oh, Zach Smith just levels. I believe that was Voracek. Either Voracek or Giroux. Patrick, Konechny, and Frost on the power play for the Flyers. And face-off won by Zajac and cleared by New Jersey. Ghost is back for Philly. Finds Patrick. Home Patrick for Konechny. But Zach Smith intercepts and finds Zajac. But Zajac will get it on the stick of Morgan Frost, who shoots it into the glove of Mackenzie Blackwood. Nico and Simmons out there against Patrick, Konechny, and Frost. Face-off won. Or face-off tied up, I should say. And Blackwood has to stretch out for that one. Frost to Ghost, to Provorov, for Konechny, back for Provorov, for Frost, for Provorov. The passing of the Flyers pretty much on point right now, besides a little interception before, as Hischier will clear. And that leaves the Flyers down to 1 minute on the power play and 3:33 remaining in the third. Konechny up for the Flyers. He'll try to find his teammate, but found Severson instead, and Simmons up the left wing. Simmons for Subban with the power shot, and he scores. No, it is Nico Hischier with the tip in front. Why am I not surprised? As Nico Hischier with his 6th goal this preseason. My goodness, short-handed as well. And that will get us up by the score of 4-1. As Subban with the great pass from Simmons, and Nico's right there in front of the net to deflect it. I don't know if it was necessary. Let's take a look at the replay here. Subban with the shot, and was the deflection necessary? It might have been. It might have been necessary. He might have been in position otherwise with the goaltender. So that's a good goal by Nico, and we now lead 4-1. Zajac will win the draw back for Butcher. Butcher for Smith. Zach Smith will clear. And Riemsdyk has to go back. And Voracek for Couturier. Couturier for Giroux. Giroux tried to find his teammate, but could not, and Butcher will pick it up and clear. 3 minutes remaining in the third. 20 seconds on the power play, as Vanek will try to get it up for his team, and just barely did. Ben Riemsdyk in the zone. He walks in himself, and Blackwood forced to make the save, as I have no idea what the defense was doing there. But they were just, I guess they were just watching him go by, and yeah, no problem. He just walks in on the goaltender. Blackwood makes the save. So 2:46 remaining in the third. Flyers are winning the face-off draws. The face-off wins. Face-off battles. I don't know what I was supposed to say there. Couturier will be forced to take that back as Vanek takes it back into the zone. Voracek with a partial break as Blackwood makes another save with the glove. So back to 5-on-5 now. Hall, Hughes, and Gusev out there against JVR, Giroux, and Voracek. Face-off won by Hughes. Butcher receives it from Subban. Now to Hall. Taylor Hall on the wing. Tried to find Hughes, but gets Gusev instead. Hughes gets knocked over, and Hall with the backhand shot. Gusev gets it in front. Couldn't pull the shot off, though. And he could not hold possession of the puck, as Giroux will take it the other way with 44 seconds remaining. Subban, behind his own net, finds Hall. Hall does a little dangle, couldn't get by though, as Lawton will take that up for Philly with 30 seconds remaining. There should be no problem, unless we have a miracle comeback from the Flyers. This should be all wrapped up in favor of your New Jersey Devils. Gusev with the puck, and he'll get that shot on net. Hart covers up with 16.9 seconds remaining, and this one should be just about in the books. Bratt, Zaka, and Wood out there against Lawton, Konechny, and Lewis. Face-off won by Zaka. Tanev to Wood with the shot. That was a ripper, but he could not bury it. Not that it was necessary, but Ty Smith will go back for it. And Wood, with 2 seconds remaining, carries it up. And that'll be it. So that'll be about it for this one. I'm going to call it here because I've got a lot of recordings to do. I'm way behind. I've been working on the Hall of Fame video, the Hall of Fame inductions video or not the inductions, but the nominations video for this class of 2019. So I really got to end this one and start recording the next video. So I'll leave you guys off here. Let me know what you guys think of the improvements we have made to our team. And I'll see you guys in the next one when we start year number 2.